Khamzat Chimaev, we've got to talk about him. He's fighting on December 19th. There's a lot of hype around this guy. I can't remember someone in the UFC that's had 3 fights and gets to fight the number 3 ranked guy. I know the rankings are a bit, arbitrary in terms of some of the matchmaking, but I actually think this makes a lot of sense because Leon Edwards is about as cold as you get right now. He hasn't fought since last July. He needs that to get that momentum back, and why not do that against a guy who's only got 9 fights? What's your take on that, on the matchmaking here with Chimaev and Edwards?
I'm into the whole thing. And I mean, again, you and I are shining up Chimaev, but it's the opposite of what you gave Chandler a pass for. Chimaev went through these training camps as well, but he went through the training camp so that he could go out and fight somebody. And he's offered to fight guys at 2 different weight classes and not offering an excuse in between. Chimaev will greatly let me down if he ever gets up in the loft and pulls a ladder up behind him. I mean, we see many guys that we get behind and all of a sudden they don't do what it was that made us support them in the first place. I don't predict for you that he will do that, but, if he eventually does capture one of these championships and all of a sudden starts talking like the rest of these phonies about this guy doesn't deserve it or I won't give him the opportunity, forgetting that at one point he didn't deserve it and at one point he was given an opportunity. And generally we see that. We see a guy say one thing until he comes out and says another. I like the booking for Chimaev. I don't like how long it took to get Leon on board with it. I don't see what a ranking matters. I don't know what any of these guys are ranked, and I do this for a living. I will never know. I don't even know where to go to find out what they're ranked. I literally don't even know the website to go to that will tell me what they're ranked. But I do know who's on the main card, and I do know who's in the co-main event, and I do know who's in the main event spot. Those are the only numbers or placement that matters. They could have a 2 or a 1 or a 9 next to your name. Are you the main event or aren't you? That is how you balance and judge your worth in this sport. And for anybody to hesitate to jump at a main event spot on ESPN, shame on them.
Do you think a win here would put him in that title contention? Because to me, it's about momentum. Chimaev reminds me of Jorge Masvidal, and let me explain why. He was the talk of the town last year. No one was more popular than him. He had Donald Trump come to his fight. He had The Rock give him a belt. Chimaev's kind of got that same luster where it's like this. Everyone's talking about him. He's the next Khabib. He's backing it up. He's getting big, impressive finishes. That's what you need to do. Do you see similarities there in terms of the way people are talking about Chimaev?
I do, but I think he's going to transcend better. Don't forget Khabib, even at the time that he got that Conor fight, that wasn't even guaranteed to be booked. Had Connor's not been rolling when Conor broke into the Barclays Center, assaulted him, and ended up in handcuffs. I mean, in all fairness, Khabib was not a very big deal in North America. He is now, but I'm taking you back then. He was big in other parts of the world. Chimaev seems to already worldwide be a lot further in his career, which is only 3 matches deep with a 4th one scheduled, a lot further than Khabib could even dream of being at that time. So I don't know that I love the comparison of Chimaev in because Khabib's out. I think that's been a little bit unfair. Chimaev was already on the scene when Khabib was still on the scene. I'm not really totally seeing the similarities between the two other than Chimaev at one point tipped his hat to Khabib and called himself Khabib 2.0. I think that Chimaev is paving his own road. The other side to it is, the buck stops at Leon. You're either this good or you aren't. And for some of the judgments that have been passed on a guy who we've seen in there for not even one complete round seems a little bit lofty to me, but he's going to have his chance to prove it.